All right, so we're gonna do 1 point perspective room. I already re-recorded the drawing of it, so I'm gonna pause from time to time to explain what we're doing. So if you look in the top left corner, the first step you have to do is you have to draw an X that goes across your page. Now you want it to be as close to the corners as possible. Um, Mine are a little off, which is okay, but you want it to be as close as humanly possible. So it's an X from corner to corner. What this does is it gives you a point right in the middle of the page. That point right in the middle is your point of perspective. So since it is 1 point perspective box, you have 1 point that goes in the middle of the page. The next step is we have to draw a box that's going around. What this box represents is the far wall in a room. So if you're sitting flush up against the wall or standing up flush up against the wall, and the room you're in is a square or a rectangle, the far wall that you're looking at is what we're drawing right now. So the way to do this is make sure your line is perfectly straight. So if you draw one line and it's perfectly straight, if you just keep making them go perfectly straight, so the first one we drew on the left side, straight down, and then straight over, and then straight down, and then straight back over, you'll see that since up here where I'm drawing the line right now, since they're not in the exact spot that there should be, the line is a little off when it comes down to the bottom. What this is going to happen is later on in the project, you'll see, and I could have actually brought that down a little bit more. You'll see later on in the project that part of the flooring that we're going to draw is going to be crooked, and that's the last thing we want to do. So after you draw that, you'll see that I make a dot right in the middle. That dot is our point of perspective. That's why we had to make the X. The X not only helped us find the center of the page, but it also helped us to give the room some kind of depth. So when we erase the lines inside of the square, but you want to keep that dot right in the middle. So that dot represents where the center of our page is. So do your best to keep that dot in the middle and erase everything else. So the next step, if you look at the directions on top, is we have to draw a door. So the door is going to be on our left-hand side. So all you do is you start at the point of perspective for all of these. Start at the point of perspective, go over, hold it, make sure it goes straight, and then go straight down. Now you want your line to get as close to, I mean, it should go on the line on the bottom there. Mine doesn't. It should go all the way down. And then you draw another line that comes down, and that kind of frames off your door. So now we have the outline for what our door will be. What we are going to do for our door as well as our window is we will do the structure of it, and then we will give it a door frame. So let's picture that we're putting a molding around our door, and we're putting a molding around our window. All right, so we put a molding around our door, and then bam, we have our door. If you want to, in the middle of the door, you can add a doorknob. I did not. I like to think my room is a little high tech. The door is just going to open on its own. Voice recognition software maybe, but it's still going to open on its own. Next step is to draw the window. So starting from the point of perspective again, we go across, straight down, and then from the bottom of that line, back over to the vanishing point, the point of perspective, the point in the middle of the page. Then once we do that, we have to edge off our window or mirror or picture frame or whatever have you, and then erase the lines we don't need. So with all these projects, it's a lot of erasing. If we were doing this with pencils right now, my biggest critique, my biggest thing that I would say to everyone is work very lightly, because we will be erasing a lot of these lines. So especially when we're doing projects like this in class, the lighter you work, the better, because we will be erasing the lines. So once we erase those, same thing with the door. We're going to make our border, put the molding around our door, and it comes back across, and then we go straight down again, and then it's just a lot of erasing once again. All right, so this project is probably the most work of the 4 projects, of the 1 point box, 2 point box, 1 point room, 2 point room, because it's the most lines that you have to draw, the most detail that you have to give. But once you know what you're doing and how you're doing it, it really isn't that difficult of a project. So now I'm just zooming in and erasing a little bit, trying to clean up. Now, as you can see, even for my middle square, it's not perfect. I erased some of the line. There's still some dashes. You're gonna do the best that you can. So what I like to do here is you see that there are 7 dots right there. The middle dot is the 4th dot. It lines up perfectly with our point of perspective, with our vanishing point in the middle. So what I like to do is I put that dot, that first dot, I like to put that first dot down. Then I put 3 dots to the left and to the right. So I'm going to put a line straight down, just show where I want it to go. I'll put my first dot there. And then I break that side in half, the left side, and I break the right side in half. And then I put it in half, 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 and half. So now I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have my 7 dots, my 7 sections that I need evenly spaced out. If we had rulers, we could measure it, but you could just eyeball it out and make sure they're as spaced out as possible. Now, here's where some people get confused. What you are doing is you are drawing a straight line from the point of perspective, and it has to go through the dash that you just made. Okay? So you're going to keep doing that. It goes to the bottom of the page. So point of perspective down to the dash that you just made. Point of perspective down through the dash that you just made. This way it shows that our floorboards are all angled straight towards the center of our room. So we're going to make 7 lines that go through our 7 dashes, and they all go up to the point of perspective. Right? I think you guys can make that out pretty easily. Now, all we have from here are 3 more steps, and we are pretty much done. So once you get those lines across, well, I guess 4 more steps. You have to erase what's inside that square, because technically that's our back wall. So there's nothing really on that except our point of perspective. The next step is to make a tile pattern. So the best way to do this is from the bottom right corner, you're going to the top left corner of the floorboards. Making sure it goes corner to corner. Now, at each point that the line you just draw intersects with one of the panels, you're drawing a line across. So I'm making dashes at all those points. You don't have to make dashes if you don't want to. I do, just because it lets me know where each of the lines intersect. So at each of those dashes, you'll see that the line we just drew intersects with one of the lines we drew that's up and down. So what you're going to do is you'll see that I draw a line going straight across. And now as it gets closer to the top, you'll see that it's going to get tighter and tighter. Little not as easy to draw those dots, especially since we're on our iPads. It's going to get a little more difficult to just do the best that you can. And then once you finish with all of those lines going across, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines going across. Once you get all 7 of those lines going across the page, this one takes me a minute or 2 to do, because remember, as I said earlier, my box isn't perfect, so these lines aren't going to be perfect, so it's a little crooked. You just got to do your best. And once you finish drawing these lines, the next step is to erase that diagonal line that's going from corner to corner. Once you erase that diagonal line, that is the end of the project. So you can see it's not perfect, but as I start to erase all of these lines, do your best to erase them. And once you do that, that's pretty much it. Alright guys, if you have any questions, problems, concerns, please email myself or Ms. Rodney or Ms. Panassi, and that's pretty much it.